This video was made for educational purposes. It is part of an academic project. The information presented was researched by the channel owner.
Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain what Global Sumud is, why its flotilla became one of the largest acts of civil resistance in defense of Palestine, and how the arrest of its members sparked an unprecedented international reaction. We'll see who participate, what they were looked for, what happened during their capture, and why this event marked a turning point in how the world understands the blockade of Gaza Flotilla, also known as Flotilla Global Sumud. This is a no-violent, unarmed civil organization initiative formed by non-governmental and civilian organizations that sought to break the Israel blockade of Gaza and simultaneously open a permanent humanitarian aid corridor. It was formed in June 2025, and this flotilla is called Global Sumud. Why Sumud? Sumud is a word that means firmness or perseverance in Arabic, and is a word that symbolizes Palestinian resistance. The Palestinian people use this word to symbolize their fight, their resistance. Some of its integral supporters are the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, the World March to Gaza, and the Sumud Nusantara Flotilla. But I find it necessary to mention each of its members. However, that will make this video much longer, and as there are around 500 active civilians in our organization, and it is very important because it is a movement that implies the cooperation of different civilian regions. Well, what about participants? Around 500 people from 46 countries participate aboard 52 vessels. It is a historic milestone, the largest civilian maritime convoy in history, with a humanitarian objective. Those who live in human dignity and the power of collective action. Though we came from different nations, faiths, and political beliefs, we are united by a single conviction: the injustices must end and Palestine must be free. You can see the references in the box. The number of civilians who participate per country is Turkey 50 participants, Spain 49 participants, Italy 45 participants, France 34 participants, Tunisia 34 participants, Greece 28 participants, Malaysia 23 participants, USA 22 participants, Swiss has 19 participants, Algeria has 19 participants, Ireland has 16 participants, Brazil has 15, Germany 50 participants also, United Kingdom has 13 participants, Netherlands has 10 participants, Sweden has 9 participants, Australia has 6 participants, Pakistan 6, Mexico 6, Norway 6, South Africa 6, Finland has 5, there are 5 also participants from Morocco, from Portugal 4, Austria 4, Belgium 4, Argentina 3, Kuwait 3, New Zealand 3, Poland 3, Bahrain has 2, Colombia 2, Uruguay 2, Bangladesh 1, Bulgaria 1, Czech Republic 1, Denmark 1, Japan 1, Lithuania 1, Luxembourg 1, Mauritania 1, Oman 1, Serbia 1, and Slovakia 1. This is the total of participants, and it is an approximate count since some civilians have dual nationality, and that's why the count sometimes varies a little. And well, the steering commit includes, and it is the most important because it's the people who is in front of the organization, some of the people who make up his commit and who have dedicated years, even decades, to the defense of the Palestinian people. We have first
I apologize for any bad pronunciation I may have had. I try my best.
Cleokini Alexopoulou, She is a Greek historian, is actively involved in humanitarian and leftist movement, and has been a key figure in the pro-Palestine movement at the universities in the United States. Then Yasmin, based in Turkey and Germany, is a human rights activist and a member of Freedom Flotilla. She was part of the crew of the Madeleine. That was the ship that attempted to break the illegal blockade of Gaza. Then here's Thiago Avila from Brazil, was also part of the Madeleine's mission. He was detained and held incommunicated with a hunger strike after denouncing the crimes committed in Gaza before a judge. Maria Elena Delay from Italy is a founding member of the Free Gaza movement and has coordinated the Freedom Flotilla. In 2025, she led the Italian delegation to the global march to Gaza. Saif Aboukeshek, a Palestinian living in Barcelona, has been organizing solidarity for Palestinians in Europe for over 20 years. He was one of the main organizers of the global march to Gaza and currently leads international networks against the occupation. Muhammad Nair Al-Nouri from Malaysia is the founder of Cinta Gaza Malaysia, and he has sent millions in humanitarian aid and leads educational and community projects within Gaza, making him one of the most influential Malaysian voices on the issues. Marwa bin Wetaya from Algeria coordinates youth and civil society platforms in support of Palestine and is part of the regional leadership of the Sumud convoy, while Nawar from Tunisia was a political prisoner and has dedicated his life to popular mobilization. He has also been a coordinator and a spokesperson for the Sumud convoy, which aims to break the blockade of Gaza. Haifa Mansouri from Tunisia is a social researcher and co-founder of the Joint Action Coordination for Palestine. She organizes boycott campaigns, events, and civil society platforms against normalization of this genocide. Torka Chaibi, also from Tunisia, is a long-time advocate for Palestine, having been active since 1985. She leads a peasant movement and represents her organization on the steering committee of the Sumud Flotilla. Diego Vázquez, a Mexican artist, participated in the global march to Gaza and is now part of the Sumud Flotilla committee, where he collaborates on security and organizational tasks. Susan Abdalhad, a Palestinian Norwegian, is a teacher, translator, and local politician in Norway. She has spearheaded international solidarity projects and initiatives to raise awareness of the Palestinian cause in Europe. Ada Colau, former mayor of Barcelona. Mariana Mortagua, member of parliament for the left bloc of Portugal. Bruno Gilga, Brazilian activist. He is the creator of Revolutionary Workers Movement. Susan Sarandon is an American actress and activist. Mandela, chief of the EMSO Traditional Council and grandson of Nelson Mandela. Also, Mustafa Barghouti is a Palestinian doctor, an independent politician. He represents the most respected internal voice of Palestine in international forums. For Israel, arresting him entitled an enormous diplomatic cost for the flotilla. It meant a moral shield and a source of credibility before the world. Crying Mokiver, former director of the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights in New York. He resigned in 2023, denouncing the UN's failure to act in the face of genocide in Gaza. His participation transformed the flotilla into direct indictment. He says if international organizations do not act, civil society has a moral responsibility to do so. Manal Tamimi, Palestinian activist from Nabi Saleh, a symbol of civilian resistance. Her participation linked to the flotilla and the Palestinian concept of permanence and dignity that gives the project its name. Her presence underscored that the mission was also an act of remembrance and popular resistance. Monsef Marzouki, former president of Tunisia, and decision and human rights advocate. His participant added geopolitical weight. A former head of state sailing toward Gaza makes it impossible for Israel to treat the mission as fringe activism. And Raja Shelhaden, Palestinian lawyer and founder of AIHAK, one of the most influential NGOs documenting war crimes. His participation provides the legal framework to denounce the interception before international bodies. What about the journey of Global Summit? First, August 2025, approximately 30 ships depart from Barcelona, Spain, the first major departure point, and early September 2025, the flotilla consolidates, making a stop and adding more than 50 vessels to ports such as Geneva, Italy, Cyprus, Greece, and Tunis. The convoy carries hundreds of tons of aid, and along with the Italian vessels, a rescue ship called Life Support joins, only with Italian people. In Italy, the population at the first of the movement, even when they had not yet set sail, the population from Italy threatens to ban Israel cargo if the flotilla is blocked, and to stage a national strike if contact with the flotilla is lost for even 20 minutes. In September 9 of 2025, the first drone attacks against ships anchored in Tunis are reported. Similar attacks occurred on September 10. Attacks are reported between September 23 and 30. Following explosions of the coast of Greece on the 23rd and 24th, and due to these attacks on Europe, the government of Spain and Italy deployed warships to safeguard their citizens. These were military vessels supporting the global Sumud Flotilla solely for emergency and rescue operations, and Turkey joined with drone surveillance. While all this was happening, Israel was already working at threatening to deploy military forces to halt the flotilla's course. Similarly, at the end of September 2025, as the global summit approaches the Gaza coast, coordinated attacks and intimidation maneuvers with drones, communication interference, and the launching of corrosive substance were reported.
Okay, we are masking our face right now. We have copters right above our heads, the most dangerous one, and they are, I don't know what this is. We don't know what this is, if it's paint or some chemical. No idea, but please sound the alarm.
Once the convoy reached 150 nautical miles, and Israel announced it would take military action against the flotilla, and declaring that if the flotilla attempt to break the blockade, those on board will be arrested and the vessels confiscated. In October 1 of 2025, in an interception point, approximately 120 nautical miles, that is 220 kilometers from Gaza, Israel naval forces began intercepting several ships of the global Sumud Flotilla using water cannons and boarding actions. In October 6, the last ship, the Marinade, was intercepted. The interception sparked massive protests in cities around the world. the Israel action. But under what grounds were they intercepted? The Global Sumud Flotilla represents a strategy in international law to pressure political actors, states, countries, and
The mission fully complies with international law. Any attempt to intercept and stop the flotilla on its way to Gaza might constitute an aggression and a violation of the cruise right under international maritime law. I fully support the flotilla and I call on member states to extend support and protection to the flotilla and all those who are just supporting it on land and on the boat, and to join them as soon as possible, because together we must break the siege and we must help the state Gaza. Stay strong.
Governmental organization to take action against the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Because if there are offenses against the civilian population of certain countries, it implies active pressure from the state to which they belong. But what is the justification for Israel's intervention? Israel primarily justifies its intervention on maritime law. The problem is that it unilaterally claims the maritime territories of Palestine as its own, saying that delivering humanitarian aid infringes on Israel's sovereignty, and Israel's interception of the Global Sumud Flotilla was based on security concerns and a violation of its maritime blockade of Gaza. The key arguments presented by Israel authorities are violation of maritime blockade. Israel's main argument is that the flotilla was attempting to illegally break the naval blockade it has imposed on the Gaza Strip since 2007, and Israel also maintains that it maintains a legal maritime blockade of Gaza for security reasons, and before the interception, the Israeli Navy issued repeated radio warnings to the vessels, asking them to change course and not enter the exclusion zone. And Israeli authorities added that if the activists wished to deliver aid, they should do so through official land or sea channels established and controlled by Israel, such as the port of Ashdod, where the aid will be inspected before being transferred to Gaza, but which is misleading because it omits the fact that Gaza is in a humanitarian crisis due to control and oppression by the state of Israel. And also, Israel alleges that the flotilla entered waters it considers under its control or sovereignty, and that it did so without requesting the necessary permits or authorizations. But, well, they argued that the flotilla's intention was to enter an area they have declared a war zone or combat operation zone for reason of national security. Some analyses close to the Israeli positions have gone so far as to argue that by violating Israeli sovereignty and international maritime law, although this application is highly disputed by the UN and activists, the activity could be considered an act of piracy which would justify the boarding. Also, the flotilla stated that it was only transporting humanitarian aid, food, medicine. Israel maintains that the blockade is essential to prevent the smuggling of weapons or material that could be used by terrorist organizations, referring to Hamas into Gaza. Also, Israel actors denounce the Global Sumud as a jihadist initiative. Israel media went so far as to claim that the Sumud Flotilla was a jihadist initiative supported by Hamas, an allegation vehemently denied by the organizers and international activists. But why this is illegally? How does this argument fall apart? Why is jumping to the Global Sumud illegal? Well, the interception was illegal because humanitarian aid is a basic right wherever you are, and the blockade itself is a form of collective punishment that violates international humanitarian law. The interception of the ships occurred in international waters, or rather, in waters outside of Israel's legal jurisdiction. First, according to the UN Special Reporter on Situation of Palestine, Francisca Albanese, warned that if Israel intercepted the ships, it would be committing a violation of international law and the law of the sea, since the waters of Gaza are not under the legitimate authority of Israel.
Correct.
We have, according to Murray, other person who is the former head of maritime section of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and alternate head of UK delegation to the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, REPCOM, explain several reasons. One, that the flotilla is on the high seas, which is part of the long-term occupation that the International Court of Justice considered illegal, and the Saremo rules state that humanitarian aid cannot be blocked. He also says it is part of Israel's machinery of genocide, and as declared by an independent commission established by the UN Human Rights Council. This is precisely what points out regarding the violation of both the Convention of the Law of the Sea and international law from Israel. I mean, Israel is violating this international law. What is the conclusion for this video? The power of collective action. Part 1 of the history shows us the scale, diversity, and determination of the global Sumud Flotilla. It was the largest civilian maritime convoy in history, united by a single conviction that injustice must end and Palestinians must be free. But beyond the humanitarian objective, this blockade reveals the dehumanizing and violent practices carried out for economic gain. Practices we will discuss in the next video, including how they were replicated against the global Sumud Flotilla, and how this distort markets, and how the exclusion and control of people transform trade. But more important, how civil society can challenge monopolies of power. So, see you in the second part. Remember that you can find the information presented in this video by clicking on the link in the description box here below.
The journey.